Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. And from this point on, from this episode on, this is a slightly revamped SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. I have made some changes. I have taken some things. Well, I've taken one thing out. I'm not going to tell you the changes I've made. If you want to go through this frame by frame, you can probably, well, you will find them if you go through them frame by frame. But I took out the Elden Beast. We were landing on it a bit too much, and I really don't know what can beat it. So, sorry, I just decided we're just going to get rid of the Elden Beast. So, Elden Beast is history. I have not added any other bosses, but I did add a couple more things in there. Spice things up a little bit. So, yeah, we'll see if we land on any of those today. But this is SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. We're going to pick 2 random SoulsBorne bosses. And then each one will wash a car. And whoever washes their car the cleanest and the fastest will be the winner. That pretty much sums it up right there. And let us get to the first boss. And it is Dragon Slayer armor from Dark Souls 3. Dragon Slayer armor is a good one. I like Dragon Slayer armor. It is tough. It's literally just the armor, as far as I know. That's all it is. So, yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. He hits hard. He has help. He has a lot of help. That's kind of part of what makes him a pain in the ass. So, so yeah, I think Dragon Slayer armor is an interesting pick here, I would say. So yeah, that's very cool. Let's take this wheel for another spin. We are going to be determining the opponent for Dragon Slayer armor in the car wash contest. Dragon Slayer armor has a lot of help with the car wash as well. And it's going to be tough to beat. He's certainly going to be tough to beat. Alright, in one corner we have Dragon Slayer armor from Dark Souls 3. And in the other corner we have there it is. There's one of them. Devil's Choice. Keep the combatant you just picked or choose a new one. I kind of like Dragon Slayer armor. I don't know that I really want to switch it out. Switch him out. Switch it out. I keep alternating between him and it. You know, I don't know. I think we'll keep Dragon Slayer armor. We'll keep him. I think there's far worse choices than Dragon Slayer armor. So, we're going to stay with him. We're going to keep going. We're going to take the wheel for another spin. One more spin. Maybe. We'll see. Could be more spins. You never know. Okay. Once again, we have Dragon Slayer armor in one corner. And in the other corner, we have the Throne Watcher and the Throne Defender from Dark Souls 2. You know, some of these bosses come up and I'm not quite sure what game they're from because I really haven't played them that much. I know who these two are from, because these two almost made me stop playing Dark Souls 2. Like, permanently. Permanently. I hated these two for the longest time, but I came back and I beat them. And then after that, there was no stopping me from playing any FromSoft game. And my love of From Software was born. So there you go. Dragon Slayer armor versus the Throne Watcher and the Throne Defender. And now it is time to go to the contractually obligated bios. And with that, let us go to Dragon Slayer armor. As it pertains to Dragon Slayer armor, reading straight from the fandom wiki, The Dragon Slayer armor is what remains of an ancient warrior belonging to the most remote times in the history of the Kingdom of Lothric. During this time, the soldiers of the Lothric army found themselves facing large numbers of wyverns and had to become more than the normal knights. Thus, their first armors were crafted to fight the dangerous creatures rather than other humans. They were heavy masses of iron capable of withstanding dragon fire and similar in design to the ancient armor of dragon slayers of Anor Londo, where their shields were capable of absorbing the high lightning emissions of wyverns. The old knights of Lothric turned to the firstborn of Lord Gwyn, once venerated as the god of war and the sun, and built an altar for him inside the city, beginning to worship the ancient deity, who in return gave them the tools to face the wyverns. From the sun god, they would learn how to infuse weapons with the power of lightning, lethal against dragons, and the ancient techniques for hunting archdragons developed in the war between the gods and the everlasting dragons. Armed and protected to counter the wyverns, the Dragon Slayers of Lothric devoted themselves to the covenant of the sun god, and finally learned to use his miracles, which allowed them to manipulate the power of lightning as if it were their own. The army of Lothric thus successfully hunted the wyverns that resided in their region, and they even learned how to tame and ride them, thus gaining a terrifying arsenal and advantage over other human armies. Thanks to their support of the royal family, the knights were granted permission to befriend the wyverns and even kept them in their barracks inside the city, as the creatures would become part of their army and rode into battle, leading the knights and the dragons to become the symbols of Lothric. As the Dragon Slayer's reason for existence was lost when the wyverns became domesticated by Lothric's knights, and the kingdom's main enemies became other human knights, the army's weapons and armor changed accordingly. The army of the ancient Dragon Slayer, however, remained in the barracks of the Lothric army, after the temple of Lord Gwyn's firstborn and before the Grand Archives in the royal castle, becoming a monument to the legendary past of the kingdom's knights. During the last days of the Lothric kingdom, when the first flame was at the limit of its strength, the sun itself above Lothric would have weakened, transforming into a dark eclipse barely contained by the remnants of light as its contours. Inside the city, flocks of pilgrim butterflies would manifest, gigantic humanoid insects. These beings with immense branch-like wings would manifest the skies of the dying kingdom, migrating towards the tips of the castle, and they would take control of the Dragon Slayer armor through their dark magic, using it as a puppet to eliminate anyone who attempted to proceed to the top of the castle. And there you have it. That last sentence is the entire lore of Dragon Slayer armor. Not much in the way of lore surrounding the Throne Watcher and Throne Defender as well. And not much really needed. Their whole purpose is to guard the Throne of Want in Dark Souls 2. So instead I'll kind of give you a little bit of a personal story. The Throne Watcher and Throne Defender are basically... they were nearly the reason I never got into Souls-like games, or SoulsBorne games. Because Dark Souls 2 was actually my first game. There was a part of me who was like, if you want to play a game, you got to start with the newest one, because it has the best features and everything. It's kind of the wrong way to look at it, I guess, in some respects, but that was how I looked at it. So I started at Dark Souls 2, and then 3, and then 1. So that's the order in which I have played the Dark Souls games. But Throne Watcher and Throne Defender made me stop playing for a very long time. So, yeah, they're a formidable duo. I think they're Dark Souls 2's kind of answer to Ornstein and Smough. Although these two cannot hold a candle to Ornstein and Smough in terms of staying power and being remembered. Like, people still talk about Ornstein and Smough. They don't talk about these two goofs. But they are very similar. One is very fast and one is very slow, so the fight is very similar. But the difference between them is you have to kill them, these two, Watcher and Defender, you have to kill them almost at the same time, so that makes it a little bit different. But yeah, they're definitely a pain in the ass, and yeah, but I'm glad I came back to them, and I still remember when I beat them. And yeah, there was no looking back from that day on. I think I said that in the intro when I was doing the picking the competitors for SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. But yeah, after that there was no looking back. I was hooked on Souls games from that point forward. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about the Throne Watcher and Throne Defender. You know, I usually record the bios and the verdict at the same time. I mean, naturally, why wouldn't I? But for whatever reason, I forgot to yesterday. So here I am on a different day, and now my hair is completely chopped off. Or as a customer asked me yesterday if I got in a fight with a weed whacker. I told him yes, I lost. So yeah, it's a completely new day. Don't mind me. I got stuff going on. Anyway, on paper you would think, you know, I was really thinking about this. I initially was looking at it like the Throne Watcher and Throne Defender have to win this. You know, they're two very tough enemies. Either one by themselves, you know, it's a tough fight. But you know what? I got thinking about it a little bit deeper, and I really think that Dragon Slayer Armor wins this fight. I really do. Dragon Slayer Armor is very powerful, has a lot of sweeping attacks, a lot of area of effect attacks. I think Dragon Slayer Armor wins this fight. I really, really do. Yeah, I think Dragon Slayer Armor has enough in its arsenal to take this fight, to take both of these very tough enemies. But that is just my opinion. Feel free to leave yours in the comments. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but that's just how I feel after really trying to analyze it from different every possible angle. That's just how I feel. I think Dragon Slayer Armor wins. So that's just it. And that is how this episode of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death comes to a close. RobertBlanchardBooks.com if you're interested in the Roar of a Dragon series, the Rise of Dragons podcast, if you'd like to hear more about them. My Linktree, my Instagram, my Twitter are all Bobby's World 2110. And you can come back here on the channel and watch more of the Sekiro No Healing Gourd run. This past Monday, we're getting to the Divine Realm, and I ran into a forgotten roadblock that I'm going to have to get through if I want to get into the Divine Realm. So, so stay tuned for that. And you can come back here next week for another episode of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. Until then, be well, stay safe, and as always, it's Bobby's World, and you're all just living in it. See you for live, y'all. Bye. What's going on, guys? Thank you for checking out the video today, but I got a question for you. Did you know I wrote a book? Did you know I wrote 3 books? Did you know that they're all part of the same series? The Roar of a Dragon, The Treachery of a Weasel, and The Cry of a Raven. ReadersFavorite.com says that its intensity rivals that of the Game of Thrones series. Now, I personally think that's crazy, but it's not for me to judge. It's for you to judge. Go to RobertBlanchardBooks.com and you can check out the books right now. But wait, that's not all. All 3 books got 5-star reviews in ReadersFavorite.com. These books won the Silver Medal in the Literary Titan Awards. The Cry of a Raven won Silver at the Global eBook Awards. So what are you waiting for? Read about Aiden's dream to become a Knight of Delmar. Read about his death and resurrection. Oops, I gave that away, didn't I? And read about his journey back home from 3,000 years in the future to stop the evil that started in Delmar. Go to RobertBlanchardBooks.com. You can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. And then, if you're interested, you can buy the books there as well. And if you've already read the books or you just want to hear more about them, you can check out the Rise of Dragons podcast. You can listen to it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And in every episode, I cover a character from the book, an event from the book, my journey into writing, and everything in between. Ripley, what do you got to say about all this?
Give me a treat or I will end you.
You know she's telling you to check out the books. Go to RobertBlanchardBooks.com to check out the books or listen to the Rise of Dragons podcast if you want to hear about them. That's all I got to say, and thank you for watching this video.